Hello and welcome to DataBelt. My name's Matt Smith and I'm Head of Pre-Sales at AIM. In this video, we're going to look at how DataBelt provides a complete data protection and breach reporting platform for organizations across all geographical jurisdictions. However, DataBelt is a complete data governance tool, supporting use cases as diverse as fraud detection, IT security certificate management, and mergers and acquisitions, to name a few. So please take a look at our other videos in the series to see the many other use cases that DataBelt supports across all industries. But why is data protection such an important aspect of data? Well, the number of high-profile instances of personal data loss due to either organizational negligence or security breaches had become a regular occurrence. This led to increasing concern from consumers and governments alike. And as the volume of personal data held by organizations is growing exponentially, it's no surprise therefore that data protection has gained an increasing national and international focus. As a consequence, countries have or are starting to put in place regulations and legislation to ensure organizations take responsibility for securely protecting the personal data they hold. These include the UK, EU countries, the US, India, Australia, China, and South Africa. And many countries are using the existing EU GDPR regulations as a template. It's also important to understand that data protection cannot be seen in isolation. The boundaries with other disciplines such as cybersecurity, risk, counter-fraud, and compliance are breaking down, meaning that a data protection breach often means a breach of one or more of these controls. In order for an organization in any geographical jurisdiction to comply with current and future data protection legislation, there are 8 key requirements that must be met. Firstly, organizations need to understand and classify the data they hold, the need to possess a data inventory, as well as carry out data minimization practices to check that the data they hold is indeed important and not being hoarded for the sake of it. Organizations must be in a position to fulfill DSARs or Data Subject Access requests and Freedom of Information requests. A holistic risk-based approach must be adopted across the entire organization, covering all aspects of business activity, including BAU or business as usual, processes, vendors, systems, and system change impact assessments. Cybersecurity posture must be assessed and improved where it is found to be lacking. Consent must be managed and customer data handled in the right way when an individual exercises their right to be forgotten. A Specialist Data Protection Officer, or DPO, or an officer with responsibility for data protection should be in place and provided with the right tools, reports, and dashboards to manage an organization's responsibilities and ensure timely breach reporting to the regulator if or when a breach has been detected. And data flows must be managed in the correct way so that if required as part of legal deposition in support of a litigation case, relevant data provided is compliant. DataBelt fulfills all these data protection needs and ensures an organization has the right tooling, work management capability, and reporting to comply with any data protection legislation, current or future, in any geographical jurisdiction. DataBelt is built around an AI-enabled data crawler which intelligently indexes and classifies data across an organization's entire data estate, providing a unique insight into the DNA makeup of the data it holds. The data blueprint created provides a full and detailed inventory of data and its relationships. DataBelt's Forensic Deep Search and e-discovery tool identifies all data subject information in any format, enabling an organization to fulfill data subject access and freedom of information requests accurately and at a fraction of the time and cost of using manual processes. DataBelt's GRC, or Governance, Risk and Compliance tool, allows an organisation to gain an understanding of its audit posture in relation to the organisation itself, its vendors and its systems. And its cybersecurity assessment tools allow a full audit of an organisation's cybersecurity posture in terms of physical and audit compliance. DataBelt's consent module controls changes in data use and allows the redaction and deletion of data. The reporting and analytics engine in DataBelt ships with data protection reports, a DPO dashboard, and the ability to produce, approve and send regulator breach reports. DataBelt provides a case manager enabled with service level targets and report templates, so that breach reporting has a full audit trail and can automatically assemble detailed breach information quickly and easily to meet regulatory submission time targets. And DataBelt supports secure sharing of data, quarantine of records, and record management processes required to ensure EDRM or e-discovery reference model compliance. And with DataBelt, cybersecurity breaches can now be assessed in context, with actual or potential data protection breaches providing a 360-degree view. An organisation can see what data is affected, where it is located and how it is stored, and actions can be prioritised based on data protection classification, risk and value. DataBelt achieves its data protection management capability using its AI and machine learning data crawler. And being low-code design, it's easy to configure. DataBelt ships with out-of-the-box classification models that are used in data discovery and classification, as well as risk and value assessments. And it can be expanded to meet any organisation's specific needs using natural language business rules with no coding involved, meeting the needs of organisations across all geographical jurisdictions. I'm now going to run through the following use cases in DataBelt, starting with data classification, data inventory, and data minimization. A good way of understanding DataBelt's AI-enabled data crawler and indexer is with this real-time visualization. We're seeing a number of robotic workers deployed across an organization's estate. Data is being discovered and intelligently classified and valued. Documents are scanned, and using OCR or optical character reading, their contents transcribed. Additionally, DataBelt uses the latest AI and deep learning technologies to scan images and identify document formats, so an organization can know, as an example, the exact number of passport images they hold and where. An assessment can then be carried out regarding whether or not the amount and type of data an organization holds is excessive, enabling the necessary data minimization activities to be carried out. We will cover data redaction in the next use case. Moving into DataBelt's CMDB, or Configuration Management Database, we can see high-level details relating to the index data that we just saw, including a mondial diagram showing, in this case, a large number of .js files discovered, as well as a diverse range of documents in smaller numbers, including PDFs, GIFs, and PNGs. Scrolling down further, DataBelt's AI has presented a valuation of the data, an assessment of its current security rating, and the classification of data. Moving into our Keras builder, DataBelt ships with trained models for many document formats such as tax documents, credit cards, and driving licenses, and it can be trained to identify company or industry-specific documents to meet the needs of any organization. Finally, we can put the index data and our deep search capability to work, running queries to locate any data across our data estate. In this case, in the context of data minimization, I might be interested in running a query showing me all CCTV recordings that contain people, that were created longer than 3 months ago. After entering the relevant basic or advanced search criteria, I can select individual or all data stores. Running the query, DataBelt will search all records that match the trained Keras models of CCTV and people to locate CCTV footage that was recorded longer than 3 months ago. With the required permissions, I can delete matching data in the target data store, generate a PDF or CSV reports, and share the data securely with my IT team to request deletion. Our next use case concerns DSARs or Data Subject Access Requests and Freedom of Information Requests. After creating a case using DataBelt's Microservices Case Creator, a search can be carried out across an organization's entire data estate. In this example, a fictional customer, Maureen Miggins, has submitted a DSAR. Here, I can enter the relevant search keywords and specify the databases I want to interrogate. DataBelt returns all records that match the criteria. The records can be reviewed and redacted as required. For example, if a record contains the personal details of another individual. The redacted documents can then be shared securely with Maureen, either through email or through DataBelt's secure online sharing portal. Our next use case is around assessing risk, whether this relates to the organisation itself, its vendors, or the systems it relies on. Understanding and mitigating against risk is key to bolstering an organisation's data protection posture. DataBelt's GRC, or Governance, Risk and Compliance module, allows data protection impact and risk assessments to be carried out. In this example, I'm going to carry out an impact assessment against an existing data asset, in this case, an HR record. Starting with personal data categories, I can apply a weighting and a score to each. I can also score sensitive and special categories of data in the same way, including race, ethnic origin, and religion. DataBelt then provides a total impact assessment score. I can also carry out a risk assessment, highlighting the threat category, the threat itself, the potential impact, the likelihood of that impact occurring, the mitigation action type, the action itself, the mitigation budget, and also the mitigation success after the action has been carried out. It's important not only to assess the impact and risk of personal data held by an organisation, but to risk assess the vendors and data processes that work within that organisation. Here, an impact assessment can be carried out against vendors and processes, including details around data flows, retention periods, and data transfers, as well as the specific policies and procedures the vendor or processor has in place. A risk assessment can also be carried out, including details of threat category, impact, likelihood, and mitigation actions. Our next use case concerns cybersecurity. A poor cybersecurity posture presents a significant risk to an organization's data protection compliance status, as it increases the likelihood of unauthorized access to personal information. This is DataBelt's 360 view, providing a global overview of key cybersecurity and data protection threats. In this example, we can see that a malop, or malicious operation, has been detected in China. Clicking on China, we can see the file share that has been impacted. We can see also that the file share contains customer information. It has a data protection sensitivity rating of sensitive and a valuation of over £250,000. Scrolling down, we see further information relating to the malicious operation, and can also produce a PDF CMDB Vulnerability Impact Assessment report. DataBelt importantly provides context to data breaches. We can only understand the true impact of a malicious operation when we know the type, value, and sensitivity of the compromised data. Now moving on to managing consent. Managing consent is an important part of data protection compliance. DataBelt manages this with an intuitive consent request form builder using object templates. This allows admins to create customized consent requests with no coding involved. This also forms part of our DataBelt onboarding process, ensuring that you have the required forms from day one. These consent forms are then sent to an organization's customers based on either a mailing list held in a separate tool, such as a CRM system, or DataBelt's own customer database, based on discovered, cleansed, and deduped customer data from various sources. Customer consent responses are then fed back into DataBelt once submitted, and/or passed on to a target CRM system such as Salesforce through one of DataBelt's many out-of-the-box integration connectors. Another key theme of data protection legislation is the right to be forgotten. DataBelt searches an organization's entire data estate to uncover all data that contains a reference to the data subject. In this case, our data subject is again Mrs. Miggins, and she's been in touch asking to invoke her right to be forgotten. Just like in previous use cases, our advanced query can be set up against one, more, or all databases. The files that contain her details are returned and can be redacted as appropriate, pushing the redaction back to the target storage endpoint. Or, due to the complexities of database backup processes, where the deleted data may become restored following a backup, a CSV can be created and passed on to the IT team securely, so that the necessary configuration changes can be made. Our next use case is breach reporting. Similar to our managing consent process, breach reporting is handled through DataBelt's object templates. In this case, we have a GDPR compliant breach report, which is sent to the ICO, or Information Commissioner's Office. However, we support all major data protection legislation out of the box, including the Australian Privacy Act 1988, South Africa's Protection of Private Information Act 2013, and equivalents across North America, China, and the rest of the world. DataBelt's breach reports are built on the same no-code object template platform as our managing consent process. As a result, non-developers can tweak and customize the out-the-box breach reports. Once filled out, the form is created and will flow along the predefined approval processes built into DataBelt, resulting in either the automatic or manual submission of the report to the relevant authority. Our final use case brings all of the discovery and analytical capability of DataBelt into a single screen. DataBelt ships with out-of-the-box reports and dashboards tailored to the specific needs of data protection officers. Again, report and dashboard building forms part of the standard DataBelt onboarding process, and you'll be left trained on how to make changes to existing reports and create new reports and dashboards using DataBelt's intuitive report and dashboard builder. We've seen how DataBelt supports a wide range of data protection activities, including data discovery and classification, risk assessment, consent, data subject access requests, right to be forgotten, redaction, records management, and breach reporting. And DataBelt reports on all key data protection metrics as part of its analytics engine, forming the DPO or Privacy Office dashboard shipped with DataBelt. And benchmarking DataBelt shows it can save an organisation between 68 and 95% of the costs of manual data protection processes. To recap, we've covered in detail data protection requirements across all geographical jurisdictions, starting with data classification and data minimisation, through to risk assessment, cybersecurity posture, managing consent and the right to be forgotten, as well as DPO analytics and breach reporting. We then saw how DataBelt enables any organisation, regardless of geographical jurisdiction, to comply with their data protection responsibilities with its AI-enabled data crawler, forensic deep search, GRC and cybersecurity tools, consent and redaction module, powerful analytics engine, and breach reporting. Thank you for watching. If you want to find out more about DataBelt, its data protection and breach reporting platform, or the other diverse use cases it supports, please get in touch. We run trials and proof of concepts to ensure you understand DataBelt's true value before you use it to manage and inform your core business processes.